Is moving your aging parents into your home the best way to honor them? Or could it cost you your health and your marriage? In this conversation with a member of our community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easy, we unpack the emotional guilt, the family pressure, and use faith-based wisdom to help this caregiver make a tough decision. When aging parents need more care, many Christian caregivers feel torn between two impossible choices: bringing them into their home or feeling like they are abandoning them. In this candid coaching conversation, we walk alongside a caregiver who is wrestling with that very decision. Today, we explore why good intentions aren't enough and how to balance honoring your parents while protecting your marriage, and why planning ahead with clear family conversations can help ease both the caregiver as well as family conflict. If you've ever felt trapped between your parents' needs and your own family's well-being, this episode offers practical strategies and biblical wisdom to help you navigate this season with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Hey, Christian Care Companion. Welcome to Dementia Caregivers Support for Christians, the podcast where I teach Bible-believing Christians how to think and respond differently during their caregiving journey. If you are a Christian spouse, an adult daughter like my community member Shauna, or a family member of somebody living with dementia and want to find more clarity, less conflict, and provide better care, this podcast is for you. Here we provide you with practical solutions, giving you hope and encouragement for caregiving, and provide you with recommendations that align with your Christian faith. Today, you will be getting a glimpse into a conversation in our caregiving community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easy. You, too, can have opportunity to have this kind of support. It's not too late for you to sign up for our March session of Ask the Dementia Coach. This free opportunity is tomorrow, March 27 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can register by going to our website, thinkdifferentdementia.com, and checking out our free resources or clicking the link in the show notes. Now back to today's episode. Wanting to help your parent is good, noble, and right. But is it still a good, noble, and right goal if you lose your marriage in the mix? Listen to today's episode to get the answer to that question. Well, and what I also mean, Shauna, by what do you want the end to look like? I want you to picture, we think about caregiving as getting up a mountain, climbing a mountain, right? But we forget that when we get to the top of the mountain and caregiving's done, we still got to get down the mountain, right? That's what I mean. What do you want this to look like? What do you want your marriage to look like by the end of this? What do you want your own health to look like? Your relationship with your children, your grandchildren? It's not just caregiving. It is your entire life. And all of us can, and I'm not saying we're the captain of our ship, the whatever that whole thing is. But we know that if you stuff your face full of Oreos for 365 days and that's all you eat, you're going to look like an Oreo. Right? There's a direct correlation, right? If all we ever think about caregiving is how hard this is one of the biggest things I have really recognized is that one of the reasons these huge big Facebook groups are so toxic, and when I read this book Chatter, it made so much sense to me, is because when we go out and we talk about the stuff, right? This is one of the reasons some counseling doesn't work, is because if all we're doing is rehashing and saying how hard things are or what we've experienced and emotionally, but we do not actually solve the problem, we've lost control of the situation, right? And so when I say you have to begin with the end in mind, you have to think about your life after caregiving. You're in your early 50s. You are not old. You've got grandchildren. You've got a wonderful husband. Your mom and dad could live another 10 years, and then you're in your early 60s. Miss Pam is, right? She's young enough to still have a life. She's still young enough to go travel and do these other things. But if all we are focused on is the task of caregiving, that we don't look at the rest, it will blow up your life. But you can change the outcome in just how you think about the process.
Got it.
It can make a huge, big difference. Like, I know that without a shadow of a doubt. Is it necessarily going to be easy? No. Is it going to be easy to say to your mom and dad, yeah, Van and I talked. It's not really going to work. I'm sorry. I love you, but this is the best option.
No, I'm glad that they released that. That I feel like that's what released them, and they needed to, because it'd be healthier someplace else.
Yep. But now I don't want you to assume the responsibility because it's not your parents' first preference. Their preferences need to be considered, but they are not requirements. Your biblical mandate is you and your husband and your marriage, and not your parents.
Yeah.
You are honoring them by doing what you're doing. You're honoring your parents, you're helping your parents, but not at the expense of your husband and your relationship with him.
Yeah, true.
That was a lot, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't mind. You know I don't mind.
No, I appreciate it. I feel like I don't know. I feel like we're getting into a new chapter with Mom. So,
Which is why I keep reiterating to your dad. Like, I literally tell him every single time, if you die, because I think your dad actually could live in an apartment and not in assisted living, but I don't think it's what's best for your mom.
Yeah.
Because if your dad, so we move them into an independent apartment and he's taking care of her, you guys are going to have to spend more time going and checking on them. And then he up and passes away. And then Mom has to move again when she's already now starting to show signs of advancing. Right. Which is why I keep saying assisted living is the best solution for them.
Yeah. And vice versa, right? If Mom dies, at least Dad would be solid in a place and hopefully have some friends by then.
Right. And then you could bring him to live with you if he didn't need a lot of care. Right. It's different helping a more independent person. Like, I have not seen any change in your dad's thinking.
Barely. There's a little, but barely. But Mom was so much better than him, and she just sped past.
Right. But I think your mom's is anoxic, vascular type of situation, which is, partially why we see some of the diffuse changes in her. But yes, if your mom passed before your dad would be in a place where he'd have friends, he'd have socialization, he'd already be in a place where it would be good. Like, I think assisted living is, like, I am not a facility first type of person. Like, I will help you bring somebody home from a facility if it's the right thing to do.
Okay. No, I think that's good points too. Like, what's after one of them passes, what's the best thing for them?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at now, we're looking at the long term.
Yeah. That makes me feel better. Like, I honestly just felt like this relief, like, okay, long term, that's probably better for them than here, when I'm trying to work during the day and they have to keep themselves entertained and there's not the other spouse because they're merged. They're the same people. They don't do anything without each other. So at least they could have friends and activities.
Yep. And there is a massive, massive, massive big thing about social interaction and integration that we discount, and we believe, not we like us, but people believe it is better to keep somebody in their own home because it's familiar, they want to be there, etc. But then that human, like my mom and dad live in a gorgeous prison. They live in a beautiful prison. They're homebound. They can't go places. They can't do things. Their friends don't come visit them. My dad doesn't drive anymore, and I live 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. I can't drop everything and go there every 20 minutes to go do something. I think their quality of life would be better if they lived next door, even though they would be downsizing, because I could pop in, and when I go to the store, I could say, Dad, you want to come with me?
Yeah. I thought they lived next door in a duplex.
No, we never actually moved them. No, they live 15 minutes from here. No, because I don't want to take on the fight right now.
Yeah.
Because it would be a fight. Pam's laughing at me. I just don't have the energy to take on the fight. So, these are all things that we've gotten them out of their house. They're not in their own house, but independent living for people who are older is not necessarily, like, if independent living means I live in a bubble, is not good and healthy for us.
No.
We are social creatures. We're supposed to be around other people. And
Mm-hmm.
way back when, 100 years ago, families lived multi-generational
Oh,
together,
yeah.
right? And
Thank
so
God we don't. Sorry.
for some families it works. For some families it doesn't. And I don't think in your specific situation it would be wise.
Okay. I'm hearing it, and I feel a relief. I just have to, I think I'll just journal through it. I have a therapy session on Friday. I'll talk with my therapist, and maybe all that will get into my head, and then I won't.
It's not a head thing, Shauna.
Okay.
I love
It's a
you.
heart thing.
It is not a head thing. You know in your head. You know in your head this is the right thing. This is my heart's not caught up to it. This is my heart. My heart wants to help. And that's what your therapist can help you with. Matching your head knowledge and your heart knowledge.
Got it.
Because your heart's in the right place, but that doesn't mean you're not helping your parents. It just means that you're not helping the parents at your expense. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. People who are really benefiting from the community are the people who joined earlier on before they need it and that have been active and are participating in the community, because then they already know what questions to ask and they have a place to come, and they're not constantly wondering, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? So people listening are interested in tapping into or learning about the community. I'd invite you to just go to the website, thinkdifferentdementia.com. There's a link for you to schedule a 20-minute call. There's no pressure. I'll serve you regardless of whether you join the community or not. But it is a way for you to take this relationship a little deeper, a little bit more hands-on support, because really the research also shows it's longitudinal support over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I would highly recommend Lizette. She's awesome.
Tracy, I appreciate that endorsement.
You are welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for listening today. And as I try to remember, I don't always remember. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and come back and listen some more. I'm hoping to do more of these coaching style episodes. So come back and check us out. And thank you for being here today.